karma. Do you believe in karma? I've always said everything that you put out in life will come back to you. Life is like a boomerang. And today's breaking news crime story, I believe, is something that we could actually call almost instant karma. Now on the left you will see Patricia Ruth Dent. She is 65 years old and she is the living girlfriend of 60-year-old Joseph McKinnon. And the small picture you see is their home, and they live in Trenton, South Carolina. Now Joseph passed away recently of a massive heart attack, but it's the conditions around his massive heart attack that makes this case the instant karma that it is. Because in my opinion, Joe faced his instant karma by having his massive heart attack. Now let me explain. Now Joe and Ruth have a pretty big area of land and they have a very huge garden as well on their land. So Joe was working in the garden one day and one of his neighbors asked him what was he planting this time, and he said he was just digging a hole and he was gonna put a water feature in it and it was just going to enhance the garden. Later on in the day, there was a different neighbor that looked over and they saw Joe, but he was laying face down and he was motionless, not even moving. And he was beside this big hole. And this was on last Saturday morning. So very concerned, this neighbor calls the police, and the police said when they got there, and they determined that he had apparently died with a heart attack because there was no trauma at all to his body. But there was also no one else at home. So the cops set out to locate and alert some of Joe's next of kin. But the cops said that they had a hard time finding his significant other. So of course authorities started searching for Joe's living girlfriend, Ruth. They tried to reach her at her workplace, but then they learned that her co-workers had been texting her with no response since 7:30 a.m. They all said this is extremely not like her. So everybody was already concerned before we even got there or was called out to see about Joe. So when nothing else was panning out trying to find Ruth, the authorities returned their focus back to the couple's house. They said when they returned to investigate the yard and this huge garden, the house had been freshly cleaned, but they were able to identify blood in the house that did test as Ruth's. So after they found that just took their attention right back outside where the pit was that Joe was digging. The officer said that they got down in the pit and they started digging around, and they uncovered it just enough that they were able to find some black garbage bags. So when they opened the bags, they revealed that a body bound with tape was inside the hole. They called the forensics team in, and then it just really took off from there. So deputies started trying to track down some eyewitness so they can compile up a timeline of Ruth and Joe's last hours. But on Monday, they learned the results of the autopsies that was performed on both of them. Now, the sheriff said that they were very certain of what they thought had happened, and they said that the autopsy results just filled in the gaps for them. See, the autopsy results did show that Ruth had been hit in the face, but that was not what really caused her death. The autopsy also proved that she had died of strangulation. Furthermore, the autopsy also proved that Joe died of a massive heart attack. The sheriff said that he believes what happened is that after Joe had strangled and killed Ruth, he bound her with tape before wrapping her body in 2 large trash bags, and then he dragged it through the house and to his truck, and then he drove the truck to his garden, where he had previously already dug this shallow grave. The truck was actually still parked in the garden when the deputies showed up. Apparently, he had been covering the hole that he dug, and this did make sense to one of the witnesses because the witness said that he was just feverishly covering this hole. And so that's just how we kind of put things together. We believe that he attacked her, he strangled her, he killed her, he put her in this shallow grave that he already had dug, and then he died covering up her body. The sheriff said that this is very out of the ordinary, also saying that there was no history of any sort of domestic abuse between the couple, and said his department had no logs of previous incident calls to their address either. The sheriff goes on to say that basically this case is over. So that is why I basically call this case instant karma. What do you think? Do you believe in karma? Do you believe that life is a boomerang and you get what you give? Whatever you throw out in this life will always come back to you. It could be quickly, it could be instant, or it could be very unexpected. Make sure you always throw out good so you will get back good. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, this is Unjustified.